doesn't quite know what the heck they are.
I was shocked by Alperen Sengun. I'll say that. He was so mentally wrecked in that last game.
Why?
That I don't know, because it wasn't like Draymond was doing anything extraordinary. He was getting to all his spots, but for whatever reason he missed some shots early.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was the magnitude of the game. This is what happens when you have young teams
go on the road,
unproven star. And this is the value of when you have a young team and you get to the playoffs, because guys can be regular season studs, but the playoffs are just a different animal when they're able to dial into what you like to do and they make it difficult.
I mean, if you turn the sound down and watch the crowds,
yes,
people are up.
Yes.
I mean, it's an intimidating. Houston looked almost intimidated at times.
Yep. And the funny thing is during the regular season, they had a pivotal game at the end of the regular season, went into the Chase Center, and they won that game. Totally different performance. But there's something about, you know what, this game could be the decider in the series. This possession could be the decider of this game that just creates a whole different atmosphere for young players. And until you see them in those moments and you see them perform, you don't really know, are they a cut above?
That's right.
Can you build your team around them?
Yeah.
In terms of being a postseason threat.
Well,
okay, we're still having the wrong conversation, okay? Because this was that game, and it's unfortunate to talk about this game on Monday, even though there's going to be the next game. This is the problem when you play like in the weekend. But that game was amazing, and I just find it so funny that people were talking about how the Lakers are the most dangerous team and they're going to go to the Western Conference Finals, like Nick Wright kind of talked about, which I'm going to talk about for First Things First when that clip comes out. And yet they're down in the series, 1-3, 3-1, however you want to look at it, and the Warriors are up 2-1. And that game the other night, it was all about Steph Curry and Draymond Green. Because you know what? When you look at the depth and the overall, average of talent now, the averaging of talent, yeah, the Rockets are better. They when you look at their team and all the players that they can go to and the holes that they have, the physicality, the speed, the length, right? The defense. Yeah, the Rockets are technically better. Technically. But basketball individual players matter more than any other sport. And this was Steph and Draymond. And Steph and Draymond are one of the greatest duos in basketball history. They just are. They just are. I know when we think of duos, we think of like Stockton Malone, Kobe Shaq, and Magic Kareem. And I know I'm missing people, Pippen, Jordan, or whatever. You better say Draymond and Steph. I know it's not a classical pairing. I get that. But we still fail to understand that when you have those two guys on the court, that it is such an insane weight that if we could really see it visually, when those two guys are on the court would just sink down. Compare how the Warriors played and Steph Curry and Draymond played. Compare that to Luka and LeBron in the Lakers game last night. Light years different. Steph and Draymond made all the plays that they needed to make. Steph made all the key shots. And when the game needed a big shot, Steph took the shot. When there needed to be a big hustle play on defense, rebound, whatever, Draymond made the play. What happened in the Lakers game? LeBron passed the ball. Luka doesn't hustle. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Just doesn't hustle. Just doesn't make the play. Loses the ball. Misses a layup. LeBron turning the ball over in the final 30 seconds of the game, then fouling Ant. And LeBron also played great, but when it was time to really get those plays down, they didn't. And I just love how they just talked and gave excuses for Luka. Oh, he was sick. And it was tough for LeBron when you have Luka sick. And then when Luka plays pretty great, puts up like 38 points or whatever, they're like, oh, isn't it amazing how amazing he's playing now? And Steph, still injured, tailbone, brace on his thumb, carrying the Warriors, him and just Draymond Green, no one else, no Jimmy Butler, and it's like they don't even talk about it. Like that's the stuff that continues to drive me crazy. And I mean, just do not take for granted the type of win that Steph and Draymond led the Warriors to. And don't get me wrong, you still need the Moody's of the world to knock down those shots. Come on, Looney getting a random key layup or whatever. Buddy Hield, you need that. That's basketball, right? You need your role players. And again, I always talk about this with the Warriors because the Warriors know this better than anyone else. Sean Livingston, Barbosa, those guys, without them, Livingston going 6 for 6 in the random finals game, just knocking down every single mid-range jumper. You don't win the first ring without those. So you always need that. You always need those key plays. The Minnesota Timberwolves needed Naz Reid to knock down a massive three. But the game still gets zoomed into these very, very little, quick, tiny moments. And sometimes they're little, but then they get magnified. And sometimes the right play isn't necessarily the right play. And I pointed this out in a Lakers video, and I saw, I read the comments, and they were kind of like, no, LeBron made the right play, passing it to Austin Reeves. And I said, listen, LeBron or Luka need to take that shot. And they're like, no, Austin Reeves does. In the Olympics, Steph Curry should have technically passed the ball to LeBron or KD. You saw both their faces were like, oh my God. And Steph even joked, I don't think they weren't too happy that I took that shot, but it was the right shot. You understand what I'm saying? It was the right shot. Basketball, sports as a whole, is always an art and a science. It's not a formula. It's not just 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = 2, but let me explain the moments that it's not. And that is something that the Warriors have always understood. That is something that Steph and Draymond always understood. I guarantee you, if we just take away all the accolades and all the actual numbers and stats that we know someone like Steph and Draymond have achieved, if you just kind of take a random game, even this game alone, people would say, oh, Draymond's pretty good. Oh, yeah, he's a feisty player. Who's that? What's his name? Draymond Green? Yeah, he's a feisty little player. And they wouldn't really recognize his true level of greatness and impact. Same thing with Steph. They'd say, oh, man, that guy can make some tough threes. That's awesome. I've never really seen a guy shoot threes like that, But he seems a little small, and he plays pretty good defense, but I assume that's probably a liability, right? They probably go after him throughout games. Yeah, I know they won that game, but in a 7-game series, it's going to be tough. You don't really understand the gravity and the greatness of those players. Even the way how we're unpacking this game right here, we're making it about the Rockets. This is not about the Rockets. This was about the Golden State Warriors. This is about the role players understanding the assignment at home, and Steph and Draymond picking up the slack in every single moment that the role players weren't. When the role players aren't making their shots and aren't getting it done, Steph and Draymond pick up the slack. Every single time. Every single time. That's the greatness of those two players. That's the experience. That's understanding what it takes to win games. That's them understanding that whether they're up 15 or down 15, you have no idea. You have no idea. And it's extraordinary. And go watch other games. Go watch other players play. Heck, just watch this game and look at it through the lens of the Rockets. Look at Van Vliet. I mean, look at these guys. And it's just funny because this guy right here was like, you better hope Jimmy Butler returns. It's like, bro, that's what these teams do. That's what these players who've never really achieved anything do. They talk trash like they've done something. Like the Warriors haven't won ring after ring after ring after ring. And he wins a ring when the Warriors are all injured. They're decimated. KD goes down. Steph's banged up. Kevon Looney broken clavicle. Klay Thompson shreds up his knee. It's like, congrats, you won. And on the back of Kawhi Leonard, congrats. I think we all know if KD was there, you don't win and you have no ring. And yet now you're talking trash? Really? Now you're talking trash? Now you're like, oh, you better hope Jimmy's here. Yeah, well, Jimmy wasn't there and you still lost. How about that? How about that? I mean, it's just so funny. You see all these younger players. I'm not saying that he's young, but just in general. So many of these players that never really achieved anything talk so much, especially this Rockets team. And it's just crazy. Dylan Brooks, it's like, get out of here, man. Talking the trash to your toe. What have you achieved? You think you're Draymond. You think you're Draymond, and you're not. You think you got that attitude like Draymond. You think you bring the energy and the toughness like Draymond. But like Draymond said, the dynasty starts after you leave. And you know what? He was actually wrong about that, because no matter where Dylan Brooks went, no dynasty. And the Memphis Grizzlies, he left, they still couldn't achieve nothing. Can't even get out of the first round. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Golden State Warriors winning a huge game against the Rockets, and now having an even bigger game, quite frankly, because I do think they need to go up 3-1. I think 2-2 will continue to be a tough seed. Because again, I don't think this series is over. I'm not declaring, this isn't a victory lap. I'm not declaring the Warriors are going to win. So if the Warriors lose, don't come to me and be like, oh yeah, the Warriors lost. This is basketball, man. This is basketball. But I do think this is a huge. I think getting these two games at home like this is huge. Then you just got to win one of the next three. You kind of, they need to rest up. Jimmy Butler, obviously. Steph Curry's been taking a beating, as we all know, and will continue to do so. So I think this game is massive. So let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.